To be entirely honest with you guys, I don't even know how to start this review. How do I introduce or build up how truly legendary this episode is? Not only is it a fan favorite, not only is it very highly praised by pretty much everyone who's seen it, but it has also been dubbed by many as the best episode in all of Miraculous Ladybug. That's also including the people that have seen seasons 4 and 5. And, after watching it, I can't say that they're wrong. Because I'm just going to be entirely blunt and honest with you. As of up to this point, this is my favorite episode of Miraculous. No joke. Better than all my 10 out of 10s, and even better than the 11 I gave to Captain Hard Rock. This is just a phenomenal episode in every single way, shape, and form. It's dark, it's story-driven, it's tragic, but it's also hopeful and tense and just investing all throughout. It's far from your normal episode of Miraculous Ladybug, and it's far more than what you'd expect out of this show. It is an episode that is bold. It's an episode that takes chances, that takes risks, and goes to some very, very dark territory. Especially in terms of its target audience, teenagers, or more specifically, the female demographic. But honestly, just an animation for family entertainment in general. It's one of the darkest episodes I've ever seen. Yes, right up there with the darkest of SpongeBob, or that one horrendous torture episode from Legend of Korra. No, I'm not saying the episode's horrendous, I'm saying what happened to her in that episode's horrendous. You get what I mean. Point is, this episode is dark, it's mature, and I wouldn't be surprised if for some people and kids, it's scary. Because it's one of those episodes where we see a hero become a villain. And not just any villain, the most evil villain that you could possibly imagine in your nightmares. Not only that, this is definitely a episode for the people that ship these two. It appeals to them in every way, but it also shows the tragedy of that. I mean, I want to go full in-depth detail with this one, but at the same time, I feel like I shouldn't, because then it's going to lose all its luster. I'm going to pretty much tell you everything that happens in it, which in turn would ruin the experience and ruin the shock of seeing how truly just dark this episode is. It's just really hard to talk about. And I feel like no matter what words come out of my talking hole, I'm not going to be able to do it justice. So, I'm going to try to keep any spoilers out of this one and just talk about the main plot. Okay? Here's the synopsis. Marinette uses her powers to leave a gift for Adrian, causing him to realize her secret identity, which has a devastating impact on the future. And we see this future, and it is pretty dark. We find out that Marinette and Adrian discover each other's secret identities. And, the way they find out is tragic. They try to have a relationship only for Gabriel to say no, which is also tragic. And then, even more tragic, Cat Noir, the last person you'd ever expect for this to happen to, outside of, obviously, Marinette, Cat Noir, in this future, gets akumatized. into someone so powerful, so devastatingly strong, and so evil to the core that it's downright unbelievable. In the best way, though. I'm not saying I don't believe that this villain turn happens. No, I believe it 100%. But it's just like, this happened. And you see the events that transpire that make it happen, and it just makes you feel all the more heartbroken and tragic. Because when he turns into Cat Blanc, pretty much all of Paris, aside from him, dies. Let me repeat that. Everyone in Paris, besides Cat Blanc, dies. That alone should be enough for me to express to you how dark this episode really is. And then Blanc sends the present-time Marinette into this future to try and save it. And we see Cat Blanc's power. And he's about on the level of Beerus from Dragon Ball. Now imagine Beerus, but with the personality and absolute malice and evil of Frieza. I know I'm making Dragon Ball comparisons, which doesn't really fit, but I don't really know how else to describe it. And all throughout, you feel bad for Cat Blanc because of everything that happened to him. Like, he tries to have a relationship with Marinette, and it doesn't work. They find out each other's identities, and, well, he reveals his identity to Marinette when he saves her from getting akumatized after Gabriel breaks up their relationship. So he goes to save them, and then he also admits to her that he figured out who she is, and they start to have a relationship. Everything starts going good. And then, while they're fighting Hawkmoth finds out that Adrian is Cat Noir, so that's a big yikes. And he uses the mother's corpse to manipulate him. Like, geez. That is dark for any show. For any animated series, period. And it really shows you how far gone Gabriel is in terms of his evilness and malice. And when he tries to akumatize his own son, it backfires, and he's killed. Because when Cat Blanc gets akumatized, he lost all control of his power and killed everyone in Paris. Literally everyone. So you see this broken future with all the remnants of Paris, all these different shattered buildings, and all that's holding them up is a big river. Because apparently I think he also broke some kind of dam when he let go of his power. So now Marinette has to fight this evil Cat Noir and save this future. And if she doesn't, Blanc ceases to exist, and that means Marinette's own future is doomed to repeat itself. Like, that is dark. Like, I had my problems with the time travel and time tagger because it was such exposition heavy. But here, there's no filler. There's nothing to ruin the plot. There's nothing to ruin the atmosphere or the immersion or too much exposition spewing. No. It's all shown and not told. which is the beauty of a medium like animation. And not only that, this is one of the most adult episodes of Miraculous, because seeing all of this happen, it's shocking. And not like cheap shock value like most of those crappy adult cartoons, no. I mean shocking as in a way that you thought it would never happen. And when you see it, you're just left with your eyes open and your jaw on the floor. But of course, it does end up having a happy ending, because this is still mainly a kid's show after all, so they kind of have to have a happy ending. But most of this episode, it's focused, it's dark, it's tragic, it's suspenseful, and it arguably has the highest stakes of any episode of the entire series. Yes, season finale included. And the writing and the voice acting is so good here too. I need to talk about the voice actor for Adrian. Because if I remember correctly, he's voiced by the same guy that voices Eren in... Yeah, he's Eren from Attack on Titan. And in this episode, sometimes he sounds exactly like Eren, to the point it's downright spooky. So, seriously, huge shout out to Bryce Papenbrook for his amazing vocal performance here, because you hear the emotion in every single word that he speaks. And it just rips your heart apart in the best way possible. Like, this episode's emotion is effective beyond anything I can try to describe to you. All I can say is watch it for yourself. This episode, it's dark, it's tragic, it's surprisingly extremely violent. But in that darkness, it finds this amazing storytelling. And I seriously cannot commend the creators of the show enough for being this ballsy. Because most shows, especially nowadays, are too scared to do anything dark or mature or adult. This shows that these people are not afraid to get adult and mature. Yes, they're mainly aimed at a younger demographic. But with this episode, they were aiming straight at the adults. And because of that, as an adult, I can appreciate it more. It's a fan favorite episode, and it's easy to see why. And the ending, while it is very brief, it's sweet. And it's the perfect way to close out such a phenomenal episode of Miraculous. This episode, it is far beyond anything you've seen from this show up to this point. And I can only hope that further down the line, seasons 4 and 5, and the upcoming 6, that we see more of this dark, adult, mature storytelling. Because this is truly this show at its absolute peak. In every single way and every single form. I adore this episode, plain and simple. And it's gonna be hard to top, needless to say. Because this is now my new favorite episode in all of Miraculous, up to the point of the first 3 seasons. Will it get topped in 4 and 5? I don't know, and I won't know for at least another 2 years. But, no doubt, this, in my opinion, is Miraculous's best episode. And even if you aren't a fan of this show, and you only wanted to watch one episode, if there was only one episode I could recommend to you to get you hooked into this series, it's gonna be this one. Because this is an episode that, whether you're a fan of this series or not, it needs to be seen. And all the props in the world to everyone involved for bringing it to life. Okay, I've been talking for a while, haven't I? What's the timestamp here? If my phone wants to cooperate. 15 minutes. Yeah, that makes it a pretty long review. But it's for an episode that absolutely deserves it. So, final verdict for Cat Blanc is an easy 11 out of 10. It is the best episode in all of Miraculous Ladybug as of right now. And I can never see it being topped. But I've been surprised before, so who's to say if this is actually definitive. But as of right now, this is the best episode of the entire show. Of all 3 of these seasons, this is easily its absolute peak. And I don't think I can say anything more than that. It is an episode that needs to be seen, no matter if you're a fan of the series, a newcomer, whatever. You need to watch this episode by any means necessary. And I don't think I can really sell it any better than that. So, thank you all so much for watching. Sorry this review took so long to get out, but I only hope that you could enjoy this video regardless. This episode's my highest recommendation possible, and you need to see it for yourself. So, that's it. See you next time for Felix.